Beast is directed by Balthazar Kormaker and stars Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley. A father and his two teenage daughters find themselves hunted by a massive rogue lion intent on proving that the savannah has but one apex predator. I always thought it was funny going to the movies and seeing the trailers for the past couple months, because usually before the movie started, they always played a trailer for Beast and Fall back to back. And I find it funny because my reaction to both trailers were more or less pretty much the same. I thought both movies looked very interesting and actually got my anxiety up a bit. However, whenever I went to go see a movie with someone and they saw the trailer for either Fall or Beast, they had the reaction that it was going to be stupid. There's no way it could possibly be any good. It looked too silly. And once again, just like Fall, my reaction after seeing Beast is that, yes, it is very entertaining. Not as thrilling as I would have liked it to be, but good nonetheless. Easily the best part about this movie isn't the acting, isn't the writing, it is the direction and the cinematography. This movie is gorgeous. Whether it's the still shots showing off either the great beauty of Africa or just how intimidating this one lion is, or the fact that most of this movie is shot in long one takes. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not something like Birdman or 1917, where those two movies were meant to look like the entire film was just one shot. There are clear cuts in this movie, but for the most part, as a scene progresses, it's just one shot, following the characters, following the actors throughout the scene. And from a cinematography perspective, and from a directing perspective of positioning both the camera, the sets, and the actors, I have to applaud this. This is incredible. And going back to my bit about the lion earlier on when talking about the cinematography, yeah, the lion in this movie is really intimidating. There is a reason this movie is called Beast and not Lion, because we see other lions in this movie. We see them in their prides. We see that for the most part, from afar, they are somewhat peaceful animals when it comes to humans. But this thing, the monster of the movie, is no ordinary lion. This is a monster in every sense of the term. A monster with an odd bit of motivation that you do understand where this... I'm gonna say it. You do understand where this lion is coming from when it's trying to kill all of these people. They do give this lion the time that it deserves to develop it as a character. And as the threat of this movie, God, there are some tense moments, especially when combining both just the monstrousness of the lion with the cinematography and how most of the scenes are shot in one take. God, you are holding your breath throughout like 5 minutes of the movie. You get 2 minutes of like time to breathe, and then, oh, we're back. 5 minutes of just, oh, you're not breathing. And this is where I have to give more credit to this movie than I would give to Fall. Because with Fall, even though for the most part it was tense, there were a lot of spans of times where it wasn't the most tense movie, and time was spent to developing the characters more than just how awful the situation they were in. Even though, to be fair, the situation they were in was awful. In this movie, the tension is always high, it's always palpable, and it barely gives you any time to breathe. And on top of that, you have some of the other usual standouts, like the acting. The acting in the movie is really good. I mean, the two main actors of the movie is Idris Elba and Sharlto Copley. One of these actors is constantly in blockbusters ranging from Marvel to DC now, and the other one was in District 9 and tons of other amazing projects. These are both well-respected actors, and they do not sleep on this movie. Plus, you know, there are the two daughters in the movie. They're fine. They're not amazing. They're not bad. They're fine. And this leads me to the big problems of the movie, starting with the writing. As amazing as the direction, the cinematography, and the acting is, The writing sucks. All of the dialogue for this movie is either really obvious and awful trailer lines that are so generically dramatic they're actually kind of hilarious as you're watching them, or just cringe-worthy bits of filler dialogue that are meant to fill the gaps between two tense scenes, and especially when it's the comic relief part of the dialogue, it never lands because you're never thinking, oh, this is a funny joke. Instead, you're just thinking, where's the lion? I oddly cared more about this lion that was actively trying to kill our main characters than the main characters themselves. Because honestly, with the exception of the two main lead actors, the daughters are kind of annoying. Actually, no, I take that back. The youngest daughter is kind of annoying. The oldest is dumb. You know how dumb Lois Lane usually is in order to get a story? This girl is just as dumb, if not even more dumb, to either get a picture of something that is going on or actively do something against her father's wishes. Even though what her father's wishing her to do is keep her safe from a lion. And my final big issue with the movie is the pacing. Not that the pacing is wonky or anything, it's just so rushed. And look, I get it. In survival movies, you sort of have to ride a fine line when it comes to your pacing and runtime. If you go too long, it's easy for the audience to feel very bored at times. This movie tries to ride that fine line, and instead of ending up boring, it feels rushed and sometimes even lazy. The ending comes out of nowhere too quickly. We don't get this real sense of perilousness because our main characters aren't centered around this one location for long enough period of time in order for us to feel just how lost and just how much most of them have given up. And there's this weird poacher story that's going on in the background that's brought up in the first third of the movie, comes back in the second third, and then is immediately dropped with almost no resolution. Now look, I know you don't want your audience to get too bored with your movie, but when you introduce these characters throughout the first 2/3 of your film and then just not do anything with them in the last third, it feels kind of lazy, and it feels like after the first 2/3 of the film, you had no idea what to do with them. But with that said, am I harping too much on a movie where Idris Elba fights a lion? Probably, because when you do get down to it, I did find this movie really entertaining. The direction and the cinematography are gorgeous and inventive, the tension is always palpable throughout the grand majority of the movie, and the acting's not half bad either. But the dialogue is too generic to really be taken seriously, you don't care about any of our main characters in this situation, and the pacing is surprisingly rushed throughout the film. Much like Fall, I really wanted to love this movie, and even though I was entertained by it, I can't help but feel disappointed at the same time. And much like Fall, I'm going to give Beast a B. Man, I'm sorry guys, I've been giving out a lot of B's lately. Can't help it, that's my truth. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know in the comments down below, what is your favorite animal that you would never want to get up close and personal with? For me, it has to be a bear. I love bears, I find them cute, I find them interesting, but if I were put right in front of one, I wouldn't know what to do. Thank you guys so much for watching, you guys are the best, and don't forget to click subscribe and click the bell icon down below to stay up to date on all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd.